Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of VCTV with your host, Kyle Ellicott. We are today speaking about GameFi and blockchain gaming and how these future industries or current industries in some cases are pushing the world of gaming forward, bringing up new categories and new terms like metaverse or metaverses, also new business models like that of play to earn, and also incorporating non-fungible tokens and NFTs into the world of gaming more prominently, as we have begun to see. We're also seeing a number of venture capital funds open up in ecosystems and outside ecosystems to invest specifically in this new term that we're seeing called GameFi, where the idea is bringing decentralized finance or DeFi mechanisms to the world of gaming as well. And I'm joined by some outstanding friends and family of the VCTV universe as investors to share their thoughts and insights on all that's happening and what is not or what is to come in these industries as well. Before we introduce them, a big thank you to the Token team, to Hasmik and Maria for always making today's episodes possible. With that, everybody, welcome. It's a pleasure to see each and every one of you. Matthew, if you could kick us off, a little intro and background for everybody, and we'll come around.
Yes, so it's Matthew Lemmel. I'm based in Silicon Valley, been here 35 years. We are blockchain co-investors amongst the leading investors in blockchain, fund of funds, and also direct token investing on a global basis. We're investors in about 300 blockchain companies and projects. For the purposes of today, though, I've been a video game and virtual world investor for about 20 years. I was chairman of Telltale, the episodic downloadable game company, investor in Unknown Worlds Entertainment, chairman of Concept Art House, which is the NFT platform, for also 10 years and more. And so this is a space that's very interesting to me, and I certainly don't have all the answers. So I'm here to learn also from the other panelists about what we all think GameFi is going to be. And back to you, Carl.
Wonderful. Thank you, Matthew. Can't wait to hear more about those virtual worlds and some of the investments you've made, as we've also seen a huge rise in that. And it's just the beginning to something you and I and others have talked about here on VCTV and what that's bringing us into and what that's going to look like here in the decades to come. Adrien, welcome. A little intro and a little background for everybody.
Hello, Kyle. Hello, everybody. Happy to be back in the VCTV metaverse. Can we call it like that? What do you mean?
We can.
Or not. So I'm happy to be back in the VCTV metaverse. I will have to put my virtual reality glasses on, right? I'm Adrien Niculescu, serial entrepreneur and investor. I'm involved in a few projects. Cloudcoin Consortium. Cloudcoin is a post-blockchain digital currency, and Cloudcoin financed the first DeFi project with both blockchain and post-blockchain technology. I'm also part of DAO1, Decentralized Autonomous Organization, a venture partner with End Ventures, fund from Singapore. Also, I'm building with bits and pieces coincruncher.com, which is a news and educational website for everything crypto, blockchain, NFTs, crypto gaming, and what will follow. We have an amazing topic today. Can't wait to dig in.
Absolutely. And last but not least, Emmanuel, welcome. A little intro and background for everybody in the audience.
Hi, everyone. My name is Emmanuel. I am the Developer Relations Engineer at Aventus Network. Today, I'll be filling in for our CEO, Alan Vey. So for my background, I come from a very high computer techie background, computer science, network computing for masters, PhD in telecommunications with a major in blockchain technology, because I'm so interested in what blockchain technology can do across various industries. So for Aventus, we are very, very keen on blockchain technology and the various ways you can use it. Aventus is a layer 2 blockchain network currently working as a scaling solution for Ethereum. However, Aventus does operate as a standalone blockchain as well, with its own security protocols, consensus mechanisms, P2P network, And recently we have, talking about the game space, we have just done a partnership with Fruit Lab in the gaming space, and we're providing the infrastructure, the blockchain infrastructure for Fruit Lab in that gaming space. And I'm really excited to talk about gaming, GameFi, what the future is like, where for blockchain and as a layer 2, where we do fit into the blockchain space for GameFi. Thank you.
I love it, guys. Let's kick it off. I mean, GameFi. This is a new term we've started seeing in the past couple months. Again, the concept is not new. As Matthew, you've been investing in this for a few decades now, and all of a sudden, this is an important topic. And maybe that's because of the rise in digital assets. Maybe that's because of the rise of NFTs. Maybe that's because of something else. In your view, why is GameFi something that we're starting to hear more about, and what is the potential of this, having seen its evolution over the last few years, to not date either of us on that one?
Yeah, so I do think that this is an evolution more than a revolution. If you go back not that long ago, most people who are listening to this grew up with devices that allowed them to play entertainment, such as their PlayStation or their Xbox and so on. But we were still operating around the console model of gaming. We then moved into downloadable games. We started seeing more casual games. We had the social game revolution. We had the mobile game revolution. And as we went down that path, we began also to be able to do massive real-time multiplayer games because the games themselves were software and they were connected online. So that allowed us to have very large populations of people playing simultaneously. And that also opened up the option of expanding the content. So we started going from sort of thin games, if you will, to very immersive digital environments, virtual worlds. Now, that transition is still going on. So as we have more and more bandwidth, as we can have higher and higher fidelity in terms of characters and environments, so we can try and make these experiences feel, if you will, more immersive and more real. They also start becoming economies. And so over the last 15 years or so, we've been grappling with how to create virtual economies, virtual currencies, digital transactions and marketplaces for virtual goods. And again, we've been working on that for a long, long time. That's 20 years in the making. So where we are today is that blockchain has arrived and crypto monies and crypto assets have arrived. And we've found out that we can apply those to digital entertainment too. And so GameFi, in my mind, isn't really a new theme. In fact, metaverse is not a new theme. We've been talking about that too for more than 20 years. But what's changed is now we've got some heavy duty technology that allows us to do microtransactions and trade digital assets in more secure, faster, cheaper, easier ways. And that is definitely an evolution. So I think that's probably enough for now. The other thing that's also worth talking about is that this is the growing space in entertainment globally. So when we first got into the video game industry, it was tiny relative to television and movies and books and the press. Today, the digital entertainment space is larger than all of those other content spaces combined. And we expect that will continue to do that growth of the digital entertainment space, including NFTs and virtual worlds and metaverses. That's going to grow much, much faster than traditional media and content. And so this is definitely the hot growth area in global content. That was a lot, I know, Carl.
No, that was great. I was just going to add on to that, I mean, you're absolutely spot on. We have what some may know or may not be aware of is Axie Infinity and the introduction of play to earn as a business model, and seeing those economies that you brought up generate not just thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars, but we're talking billions of dollars.
Yes.
In some cases.
Yeah, but so I agree, except that play to earn is not a new thing. I mean, Zynga was built on the notion of the more you grind, the more you earn. And in fact, Zynga was not the ones who created that either. I mean, free to play, play to earn, subscription models, we've tried them all, and different parts of the world have mastered different forms of incentives, motivation, monetization. And we're just now leveling all of these things up. So this is really about leveling up concepts that we've been working on for a long, long time.
Absolutely, and adding that added layer of trust and transparency, and in some cases security and speed, as you mentioned, with blockchain now being here as well. Emmanuel, you're kind of sitting in between, both on the investing side, the building side, and also the gaming side. How are you seeing this from a layer 2 perspective and a protocol perspective, being a part of Advis and kind of what you're building into as well? Can you kind of share with us the development side of gaming and blockchain gaming in particular?
Of course. So what we find in the blockchain gaming space is a trend, an increase in the demand from the community for how blockchain can better serve the gaming space. Thinking back to early years of crypto gaming, where we're talking about crypto zombies, where we're talking about crypto kitties, and the effect that crypto kitties had on the Ethereum mainnet and Ethereum mainnet, it was very clear to us that the layer 1 blockchain network, for example, like Ethereum, was not ready for the kind of scalability that the gaming industry requires. And this was very much tested with the finance industry. So then came the rise of the layer 2 to provide that infrastructure, the back end for the gaming industry, higher levels of TPS, higher scalability to better support gaming. Because now with gaming, we're looking at a whole other space that would challenge the scalability of blockchains. But layer 1 and layer 2, we're talking about a gaming ecosystem that requires transactions for fungible tokens, non-fungible tokens. We're talking about players trading within the network. And then we could also then go further, because now we're talking about ecosystems of blockchains, which is something that's coming up now. And we're looking at, okay, if we can have players and NFTs during the games, you can have players mint NFTs during the games. Can they transfer these NFTs outside of the blockchain that's providing the infrastructure? So what we're really looking at now, one of the things that we're really trying to focus on at Aventus with blockchain infrastructure for gaming is, can our current perception of layer 2 technology support the huge demand that we're expecting in the gaming industry? And we know that it's going to be huge, from play to earn, from yield, guild. We're expecting such a huge demand from the gaming industry, and the blockchain infrastructure, we're hoping it's going to be ready to support this as the demand arises.
Yeah, and I think we were starting to see that support there. I mean, Matthew mentioned a little bit of this in his opening remarks as well. I know I've done some research as well around, Polygon, formerly known as Matic, and some of the activities they've had and been doing in the gaming space. We now have a lot of activity around the Solana blockchain as well, and efforts there. I'm hearing words of the Stacks ecosystem. Per some tweets I saw recently, Huobi Ventures just launched a fund focused on GameFi. Again, Solana Foundation did as well. So this is something here. I think you're both pointing out something very, very factual for the audience to pay attention to. Adrien, anything to add? And also, again, back on that same point as both Emmanuel and Matthew, you're playing both sides. You're investing. You've also been a gamer, as per previous conversations you and I have had, but then also you're kind of building into this world with crypto assets and others. What are you seeing happening around GameFi and the investment opportunities within?
First, I would say that as a marketing, sales, and business development guy, I'm always looking at the customer habits. So people love to play, sometimes for hours or for entire nights, Also, people like to collect stuff, and nowadays the collectibles tend to become digital. Also, there is a big community doing trading with crypto assets, and apart from those, there are people always looking to make more money by doing some things they love, not necessarily going to a classical job they may hate. And at the intersection of these things, um, um, it became clear this trend, which now has a name, where you can play games. The games have embedded NFTs. Every game has at least a native token, which could be earned or traded. And it's a new industry, and there are actually new jobs which are created, offering not just full-time income, but even the opportunities to create small fortune in the process for the regular users. It's another change of paradigm in the jobs market, of course. And we can see right now so many new projects coming into this space with tokens potential to become the next big thing and to be traded at higher values than the ones at the launch, allowing massive profits, even only for the ones who are trading them. So it's a totally new paradigm composed on things which were on near our fingertips, I would say.
I couldn't agree more. And as we look at kind of this next iteration of GameFi, as things start to speed up, Matthew, what are you getting excited about in the areas of opportunity as an investor around gaming as a whole? I mean, we've got the gaming area. We've spoken about gaming with blockchain. We've got NFTs that may play a role into the future of gaming with on-off ramps, bringing assets in and out of various games. We've got esports. That's just gaming, not even talking about the broader picture of entertainment. As you had mentioned, we're seeing new membership models, et cetera. What's getting you excited as an investor right now, or maybe gap areas you would like to see the industry focus on?
Yeah, well, so you just did a great job of sort of teeing that one up, because there's two massive tailwinds here. The first is, all of the world's entertainment and content is continuing to go digital. And even though we feel like digital entertainment is now a very large space, there are very big bodies of entertainment which have not yet been taken into the digital equivalent as much as they might. And so I do agree that things like esports are growth areas. But the other big tailwind here is the gamification of everything. And so an awful lot of things we do, education, commerce, retailing, work, could be gamified. And decentralized distributed communities could be incentivized to do that work. I'll give you a very specific example of what I mean by this. I was at a very interesting event in San Francisco last night. A live person hosted it. They do sort of web chat and real-time customer support. And so we had the customer service people from a host of blockchain companies: Coinbase, Circle, BitPay, PayPal. There were a lot of people there. And one of the topics we were talking about was the gamification of customer service. So how could you take all of the users of PayPal globally and incentivize, or Coinbase, and have them incentivized through a token so that they would do customer service and they would share their knowledge and educate new users and answer questions? And that is gamification. That is the gamification, in that case, of customer service through a tokenized model on a global scale. And that's huge. And that's true for every industry. Every industry has customer service. Every industry needs to educate its users. Every industry has loyalty programs and can motivate its fans and users, et cetera, et cetera. So I see it, those two threads, more content going into the digital entertainment space, and then the gamification of every other industry as being huge in the grand scheme of things.
Absolutely. I was sitting here taking notes as you were saying that this is, I'm a little jealous I wasn't at that event as well, because it sounds like it was phenomenal just to see people, but also the content there was great. So thank you so much, Matthew, for sharing that with us. Emmanuel, coming to you, similar question. I mean, where are those gap areas? As you know, the head of developer relations and evangelism right now, where are you pointing developers and engineers to start building when it comes to GameFi or blockchain gaming? Where are some of those areas, those picks and shovels that you know we need the most in this industry, so that founders listening know where to build, and investors who are listening also can think about areas of opportunity to start placing some bets?
Okay. So one of the key areas that we're looking at right now is building blocks of NFTs. So what we've seen so far is an NFT can sell for really high if it's valued at the right rate and at the right price. And so at the moment now we have two types of NFTs going by. We have low volume NFTs that are high value, and we have high value NFTs that are low volume. And when we're entering the gaming space, we have to consider both. And we have to consider the NFTs that are high value and low volume. So, for example, really, really high characters, really, really high earnings, but low volume of this. So, very, very rare items in the gaming space. But we could consider the other side as well. So, one thing that we're considering now at Aventus is rethinking the way NFTs have been thought about. So, not just issuing one NFT, but can we then build on this NFT so they can build up to a bigger NFT that's worth more, taking high volume of NFTs and building those NFTs to be worth more. And we're doing this from an infrastructure level, and this is something that's really interesting for us. So, for example, one of the things that we've done now with our NFTs is to ensure that building an NFT on the Aventus network, for example, costs 1 cent of a dollar, which is not something that's very common, as it's very cheap. We as a business, we provide this at 1 cent of a dollar. So then we're not saying, okay, could we provide gamers with the infrastructure to be able to build NFTs, mint NFTs at a rate where they go from 1,000 NFTs from 1 cent of a dollar, and then build these NFTs where the building of the NFTs, the metadata with the NFTs are so much worth more than they were initially, and then they could then move these NFTs cross-chain, so the NFTs are not simply limited to the chain that they are on, but they can be moved cross-chain to a different chain and potentially inspire the game industry to say, okay, we are backed by this blockchain technology, but maybe because we want to expand our scope, give our gamers the scope required, we can allow this NFT from this game to be moved to a different chain and have this entirely new character on a different chain that is built made up from this NFT that was minted on one chain. So we're thinking about this. So firstly, a growable NFT that's built on starting from layer one, and then number two, an NFT ecosystem that goes cross-chain and inspires the gaming industry to then allow rooms for these NFTs to come into the game from the blockchain space.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel. Adrien, similar question to you. Where do you see these gap areas around blockchain gaming that people need to be paying attention to? And then we'll come around for one more question as well.
I don't see necessarily some gaps. I see more opportunities. And it was a question around if the NFTs can be the next big thing and if they are sustainable, especially if you buy a high-priced NFT. And the gaming adds a very, very important twist to the NFTs, and it shows that NFTs can really become something sustainable. In as you mentioned, gaps. I would say that those gaps potentially could be in the area of the security of personal data. And I think that this could be a very important area to be attended by potential entrepreneurs entering this space. People will continue to play, and the platforms which we will be able to offer like 300 degrees services in these areas and to keep the gamers hooked there, they will take most of the cream of the market. So it's important to create games and platforms which people will feel has become theirs, to find a place on the screen of the phone. And people, when they get up in the morning, the first thing to do is to go there. I'm looking at one of my daughters. Every morning she goes to Roblox. This is the first thing, So of course there are downsides, because I said, okay, you need to do something else first thing in the morning. But an ethical dependency, I would say, can create a lot of value for the stakeholders. And of course, if there is a revenue opportunity for the gamers, this is very, very cool thing. Because it is said, when you are working, to do something which is pleasurable for you, and of course the money to come from another direction. So not connecting the money to the actual work. And when people are playing, this is not work. This is pure pleasure. And if the money is coming, it's an ideal situation. Come on, if you can sustain your lifestyle playing games, it's fantastic.
That it is. Adrien, where can everyone find you online to continue the conversation?
I can be found on LinkedIn until something better will be invented. I answer to all messages, not all the time immediately. And thank you very much for having me here today in the VCTV LA Token family metaverse. Right? We have to we have to find the correct word here.
There you go. Thank you, Adrien.
Family metaverse. This is
family metaverse. Emmanuel, and any closing thoughts on today's subject? And then also, where can everyone find you and the company online to continue the conversation?
Okay, so you can find me on LinkedIn. Emmanuel Lungabo, you should find me on LinkedIn. I can go to Aventis Network on LinkedIn. You can find me there as well. And just closing thoughts on GameFi is, it's really interesting what's about to be accomplished on a massive level with combining the gaming industry and the blockchain industry. It's seriously significant. I mean, we've seen in the last 10 years, we've seen a significant rise in the number of trades that's happening between gamers about trading different gaming icons, different gaming characters. We're seeing the rise in NFT sales from gaming characters. Well, specifically from gaming characters, it's getting high. It's really significant, and like I said earlier on, we're looking to provide that infrastructure that can stand the test of time for the gaming industry, and to be able to support the expansion that would also come to the gaming industry because of the blockchain technology that's coming. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Last but not least, Matthew, closing thoughts, and where can everyone find you online?
So I think for the investors who are listening in, as investors, we look for tailwinds and the opportunity to place capital and have it grow because of a rapidly expanding opportunity and environment. And this is clearly one of them. It's one of the principal ones, I think, right now. There's huge tailwinds behind the digitization and gamification of many spaces, of which entertainment is one. But these same technologies, the GameFi technologies, are going to get used, as I mentioned before, in many industries. So we think this is worthy of consideration as an investor. and you should be looking hard at how to place some capital ahead of these tailwinds. In terms of the entrepreneurs listening in, you could do a lot worse than focus on building a piece of platform, a piece of technology that can assist in the gamification of the digital entertainment industry or any other industry. Obviously, you want to make sure that your invention is more of infrastructure and platform related than taking on creative risk, in my opinion. You have to be a really good creator to win when many people are focusing on a space, and many people are focusing on this space. So being a creative winner is always very, very very hard. So those are some closing thoughts. And then, as always, blockchaincoinvestors.com is the best place to reach me. I do accept LinkedIn invites, but I don't communicate and I don't read the emails on LinkedIn. There's just too many of them, so I can't deal with that. Back to you, Carl.
Thank you very much, Matthew, Adrien, Emmanuel, for your thoughts and insights on today's subject around GameFi and blockchain gaming as a whole and the future of what is to come in those areas. To our audience, thank you so much for listening and tuning in. If you like what you heard, make sure you click like, share, and subscribe on today's episode. Please do reach out to each and every one of our investors, myself included. We'd all love to hear from you. But please do remember to add context, where you heard us, where you met us, and what you would like to continue the conversation about. A big thank you to the LaToken team, to Maria and Hasmik for making today's episode possible. With that, everyone have a wonderful day, and we'll see you back here in the VCTV Metaverse next week. Take care, everybody. Have a good day.
Bye. Thank you.